some of them get suicidal. So this is like a really, really debilitating disorder. They all are, but this one is usually the one that's probably the least able to cope with on your own. So yeah, it could be really, really hard on someone. Has trouble remembering. Some people, like, they'll have flashbacks and other people won't remember the event at all until something triggers the memory. So it's like post-incident amnesia, I think that's what it's called. So they'll forget about the event completely and like kind of erase it from their memory. And then sometimes they never remember it. Sometimes it'll come back in fragments. So yeah, that's like the mind's way of coping with that certain traumatic experience. So this is us, you guys, who most of you guys. So anxiety in college students, like I said, it's one of the most prevalent in college students. I found that in a study, 41.6% of college students felt some type of like anxiety. Most of them having actual anxiety disorder, some form of anxiety disorder. 19% of directors report that their mental health services are not good on campus. So a lot of campuses don't have like the efficient mental health, therapy and counseling and everything and resources that it takes for the students to feel comfortable and feel like they're getting like the proper care that they need. Some colleges they try, but there's always like some kind of bias or some kind of like attached to everything, and there's a lot of stigma around it. So it isn't always up to par. Basically, 80% say they feel stressed on a basically everyday basis. So 80% of college students feel stressed on an everyday basis. I'm sure we could all say that, that we feel like stress or some type of like anxiety or something like that, just because it is a stressful environment. So that's why it is the top presenting issue with college students. 21.9% it affected their performance in the last 12 months. So sometimes we'll do bad on a test or we'll do bad in a class, not because we didn't know the material, but just because we have so many things going on and so much stress and anxiety that it kind of leads us to, do bad in a certain area when we could have done much better. So there's also a co-occurrence with depression and suicide and probably other things too. But they found a 34% experienced depression and 9% considered suicide. So a lot of these things do co-occur. But yeah, a lot of people experience depression if they don't get the grade that they wanted, they have to drop out of class. Suicide is a little more serious, and thankfully only 9% consider it, but still 9% of college students is still a pretty big amount. And I think we all can see like in recent years and stuff, there's been a lot of young people committing suicide, or at least I feel like it's more prevalent, or it's making, the media makes it seem like it's more prevalent, which is really sad. But yeah, so there's like bad and good coping strategies. We'll talk about them. The bad coping strategies, obviously alcohol, drugs, anxious avoidance. So that's when you have anxiety and you avoid whatever's giving you anxiety, that is actually a pretty bad coping strategy, just because if you never face the thing that's giving you anxiety, you'll never be able to get over it. So it's kind of like feeding into your anxiety even more. So you're planning your day around avoiding this, avoiding that, like doing this, doing that. Sensitization is basically like being like sensitive to certain things and getting triggered by certain things, allowing yourself to see these certain things the way that they are is a bad coping strategy. Safety behaviors. So a lot of that's mainly with situations kind of like OCD and stuff, when you do things that you think will make you safe, like going somewhere with a certain person will make you safe, or at a certain point it's good. Like if you're at night, you're going home, like travel with a buddy, that's great. But if you're washing your hands constantly because you think you're going to get sick, that's a safety measure to try to avoid this sickness and try to protect yourself. And a lot of times it's when people suffer from this that it's unreasonable, and getting into the safety behaviors that you normally do is a way of feeding into it also. So this is self-harm and eating disorders are not necessarily coping strategies, but often also have self-harm issues and eating disorders, just like they have drug and alcohol issues too. So a lot of these things could co-occur with each other and could loop in together. And a lot of people, I feel like eating disorders not so much as self-harm. A lot of people who have anxiety use self-harm to cope with it and to try to let their feelings out. And eating disorders also, people who have anxiety treat the eating disorder as a way of control over their lives and over their minds and like the constant, like racing and everything. But that's, certain people. So that's why they're not exactly coping strategies, but it kind of all loops in together sometimes. Good coping strategies. Okay, so this is like a list of things that you can do to help yourself de-stress and, try to deal with the anxiety and the stress of like, even if you don't have an anxiety disorder, just, with finals or with midterms or with anything else, being a college student or anything in life. So take a time out, do breathing exercises, limit alcohol and caffeine because they can make you more anxious, which I'm rattling off a Starbucks. You can get tea or hot chocolate. Yeah, whatever. A muffin. So, yeah, limit alcohol and caffeine. They can make you more nervous, give you more anxiety. You have to get not a lot of sleep. You have to get an adequate amount of sleep. I mean, that's why I'm always so stressed because I don't get enough sleep ever. And I think a lot of college students don't get the right amount of sleep that they're supposed to be getting. So getting a good amount of sleep can really rejuvenate your body and make you less nervous and stressed out and crazy. Daily exercise can really limit stress. Also, take deep breaths, which we're going to do a breathing exercise hopefully soon with Professor Gringo over there. Count to 10 slowly. This is very good also with anger as well. They always say like count to 10 or wait like a minute or two before you react to something and see if you're still like angry after a certain like little period of time, because usually we calm down and why we get so angry and we like say and do like silly things when we're mad is because we're like acting impulsively. So that's really good. And do your best. Just try your hardest. Do your best. Don't get down on yourself if shouldn't be giving advice right now. But don't get down on yourself if something bad happens. Except that you can't control everything, basically. Welcome humor. So try to be positive, cheery. It's hard for some people, but it's a good coping strategy. You can do it. Maintain a positive attitude, like I said, get involved. So like keep yourself busy, volunteer, like do stuff if you have the time. Because I know a lot of us don't have the time. So if you have the time, keep yourself busy. Create a support group. Learn what triggers your anxiety so that you can efficiently cope with it. Write in a journal. Talk to someone and get help online if you feel like therapy isn't right for you. You can always do therapy online or find a support group online, especially if you're busy. A lot of the time, online is much more easier for people. So here's my activity. I found this really frustrating for me. So it's kind of like an anxiety-inducing activity. So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but I think it's kind of fun. So I'll give you guys a few minutes, and I want you to write down all the 50 states that you can remember. And so you're going to be timed. So you're going to 2 or 3 minutes. Just write down, have every many you can as fast as you can.
Can we abbreviate or get to the whole minute?
You can abbreviate. Excuse me.
Great practice for my citizenship.
New York is one.
I would hope that New York is one. Don't yell at You got so into it. Okay, well, okay, let's talk about it now. You guys can finish later on your own. So yeah, I was like struggling with what activity to do really because I didn't want to have something that was too anxiety inducing to trigger anybody, but I wanted something that was kind of like challenging just to kind of get like the blood flowing for people who don't have anxiety, just to see how it like kind of feels when like you're against the clock or you're racing or your mind's racing, to try to think of things. So does anybody want to like express how they were feeling? You guys felt certain feelings? If you felt fine, you could say you felt fine.
I felt rushed.
So you felt rushed?
I felt rushed.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you know, like I said, anxiety inducing. Like you feel rushed, you feel like your mind is racing, you're trying to think of all these states, you don't even remember half of them. So it's
It's like multitasking. I'm trying to think and I also have to think about the time. So I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm trying to correlate between getting a test done with a certain amount of time. I think if you just eliminated the time, the 2 minutes, I think it would be more relaxing.
It would, yeah.
I got so much to do, and I'm just going to take my time.
Exactly.
But the time caused that anxiety to kick in a little bit. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Like, back in my head, I got a little guy talking. Hurry up, hurry up.
Yeah,
Somebody
so it's, like I said, anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
So you're having the thought of the time, then the thought of the states, then how many states, which ones did I already get? So like I said, it's just like a kind of activity to show you guys like what racing thoughts look like if you've never had them, and also to see if you remember 50 states. Yeah, and sometimes we are like pressed for time as college students too. So we're trying to get an assignment in, so we already know how this already feels, being pressed for time. You're doing paper last minute with an hour left to go, so you're like, every word has to be like only 1 second to take like, you know, typing time.
Okay, I just went.
Yeah, so that was just a little fun activity just to get the blood flowing. So now Professor Greenfield from the Women's Center and Wellness Center. She teaches counseling now too. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you see someone having anxiety, is there something we can do as the outside person, helping that person cope with that situation, that moment?
Well, there was also videos on this too. Maybe I should have played one too. I didn't know how much time we would have. But there was videos just saying just to like be there for the person. That's the best thing you can do is just be supportive for the person. And just, you know, try to calm them down any way possible. Never say calm down. That is the worst thing to say to somebody, probably. Or,
How
you
can I
know.
help you?
Yeah. Asking how can I help you, that's a good thing too. So you can see from their point of view how they would like to be helped personally. Because a lot of people have different ways of being helped. Some people don't want to even be around people, they want to be left alone. Some people like hugs, some people don't like hugs because they feel suffocated. Yeah, so let them tell you what they want, be supportive, and just be there for them, and just make sure they're safe and that everything, they feel like they're in a safe environment basically. So that's how we think of it in counseling too, that they're safe, that we're supportive, and we're there for them, and not to diminish or like reduce what like kind of feelings they're feeling, like saying that they're feeling irrational or saying that they're feeling, you know, whatever, crazy. Exactly, thank you. Saying that they're feeling crazy or irrational because they probably already know that, just they can't help it. So.
Should we enable them? Should we enable them to go on with that anxiety? Or
What do you mean enable?
Like, you know, if they're afraid of planes, like, tell them, don't go on the plane. We'll take
Well, like
a
I
car.
said, that's also the coping strategies.
Right.
So the bad coping strategy would be avoiding
Yeah,
what
but
you're
I'm saying
afraid
the outside
of.
person, should they enable them, like, if you don't take a plane, all right, we'll take a bus.
Well, it depends on that person.
Right.
So it depends on the person. If that person shouldn't push anybody
Right.
past what
Well,
they're
then again,
comfortable
right.
with. They need to do things on their own and figure out what's best for them to get into. We have good questions. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm a heavy thinker.
Yeah.
You got dinosaur, I think you later on.
Yeah, I love the questions, they're wonderful.
And we're gonna have like a little downtime, so let's all pay attention.
Hi everyone. So my name is Jessica Greenfield, and as Miranda said, I am the counselor in the Women's Center for Gender Justice. I'm also an adjunct professor in the counseling department. And in addition, I teach yoga.
Exactly, I forgot to say that.
So one of the things in my many hats that sort of comes together is this idea of the connection between the mind and the body. And so I was very excited when Miranda asked me to do something like a breathing exercise or something related to the mind-body connection, because as I have grown and in my career, that's one of the things that I've noticed so much is that I was trained and formally trained and licensed in talk therapy, but talk therapy can only get you so far. And so I got to a point in my career where I would notice people having kind of physical things going on in their body, or people would tell me, you know, I feel bad in my stomach, or, you know, making some kind of connection. So I got more interested in this idea of the connection between the mind and the body. And eventually, fast forward a few years, became a yoga teacher and learned a lot more about trauma in the brain and neurobiology and things like that. But for the purposes of today, I want to talk about two very, very easy things that you can take with you to practice on your own when you feel anxious. And I want to sort of frame it by saying, before I became a yoga teacher, I was somebody who was like, oh, that stuff's just not for me. Like yoga, I don't know. Like I don't want to be connected to my breath. I don't want to be like anywhere near it. So I certainly understand and appreciate if some of you are like, no, this is not my thing. It doesn't have to be your thing. But I ask that you try to keep an open mind, because you may surprise yourself. So two things that we are going to do today, and they both involve breathing, right? So what I'll ask you to do first is just find a way that you can sit comfortably in your seat. I know these seats are not so comfortable, and it's a little hard. Normally I would say to come to the edge of the chair and put both feet on the ground and place your hands on your knees. If that doesn't feel good for you, it's fine to sort of sit back in the chair. It might feel better to have your back resting against the back of the chair. But try to come to a place where you can be still for a few minutes and where you can sit up tall and lengthen through the spine. There's this nerve that runs down the center of the body. It's called the vagus nerve. And what it does is it is in charge of the sympathetic nervous system, which is what gets turned on when we get very anxious, and also the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what calms us down and counterbalances that anxiety. So what controls this nerve is our breathing. So you'll find that when you start to focus a little more on your breathing, you might feel a little more grounded. So we're going to go through a couple of different exercises here. So the one thing is the breath. So what I'll ask you to do is keep your feet flat on the floor, maybe place your hands lightly onto your legs, sitting up tall. You can close your eyes if that's okay for you. If it's not,